Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test of the 2021 Ford Bronco Sport Badlands. We're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out, 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a realistic highway fuel economy average for this tough little SUV. And before we get started, let's hop out, take a quick look at it. As you can see, we've gotten this thing good and dirty. The Badlands is the off-road spec, lifts it up a little bit. We've got these optional meaty off-road tires and wheels. This thing is rough and ready to tumble, and just because it's the Sport, the smaller Bronco, just based on the Escape, doesn't mean it doesn't have some serious capability. So if you want to see more on that, check the links in the description for our full review and our dedicated sound system test. Now, why do we do this test? Well, the EPA Highway Fuel Economy Test, which gives this 2-liter Bronco Sport 26 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. And we know there are people who take their cars out on extended road trips and would like to know what sort of numbers they can realistically expect to get. Not only that, but the EPA only has 2 ratings for the Bronco Sport, one for the 1.5-liter inline 3 and one for this 2-liter turbo. That being said, this is the Badlands edition, which has optional wheels. It's lifted up a little bit more, so it's unlikely to get the same fuel economy numbers as you'd get on a more pedestrian version of this truck. So this will be interesting. We'll be curious if we can actually get that EPA 26 mile per gallon figure, which is key because there are a lot of vehicles in this class that can do much better than that. A few other things to note. Ambient temperature outside is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We have set the tires to their door placard 33 psi cold, and we're going to be running the climate control at 73 degrees auto. 4.403 gallons going in for the initial fill. Before we actually start the engine, we're going to reset our trip meter and fuel averages. We've got our GPS reset. We're going to put the car into eco mode, and we're ready to begin. Really like the rotary shifter that Ford went with on the Bronco Sport. It's super easy to use and nicely out of the way. We're going to drive nice and easy over the highway. It's about half a mile and pick up the test from there. The goal of this test is not to hypermile, but rather to get a realistic fuel economy average. Therefore, getting up to highway speed here, we're going to be not hard on it, but just as you would in normal efficient driving. We're going to get up to a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour. There we are, looks like 73, it's 72 on our GPS, so that's what we're going to roll with. Initial highway comfort is pretty good. I think it'll really be revealing what our seat comfort's like after more than an hour sitting in it, and then kind of various highway noise as well. Alright, we're going to catch up with you at the end of the test. In the meantime, feel free to enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Bronco Sport Badlands, I'm fairly impressed. Car's trip computer's giving us 26.8 miles per gallon, so if that does turn out to be true when we get back to the pump, that'll be 1 mile per gallon above EPA, which is pretty good considering this is the off-road oriented model. Average speed has been 70 miles per hour, and highway comfort's actually been pretty decent as well. These seats have a good amount of support in them. You do have two-way lumbar adjustment, so that's good. Really, fewer complaints than I expected with this thing on the highway. The sound system's okay. If you want to see more on that, click the link in the description for our dedicated review. All in all, the Bronco Sport's really shaping up to be a good all-around vehicle for this class and price point. I think Ford really nailed it out of the park. Now, mind you, if you're going to do a lot of road tripping, 27 miles per gallon still is not great. There are plenty of compact crossovers that'll do much better on the highway, but if you want the rugged appearance and some of the off-road capabilities and the grunt of this 2-liter turbo, then hey, you could do worse. We're going to take it nice and easy back to the Shell gas station, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get ourselves a result. At the pump, 26.9 MPG. Fill it up. 3.854 gallons. 102.2 divided by 3.854 is giving us 26.51, rounding up to 27 miles per gallon. All right, not too bad for the Badlands spec. Now, the Bronco Sport comes with a 16-gallon fuel tank, so 27 times 16 gives us an effective highway cruising range of 430 miles at 70 miles per hour. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you found that informative. If you want to see more on the Bronco Sport, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.